Well, here we are, Advent week 2. We are right in the thick of it. So last week the invitation was to decide what kind of a disposition you were going to bring to your waiting, being fully present to the moment. So this week I'm going to ask the question, how can you be a disruptor? Maybe a disruptor of all the crazy traditions that don't really seem to have anything to do with Christmas. So today I'm reading from a writer named Loretta Ross Gata. She says this: the intensity and strain that many of us bring to Christmas must suggest to some onlookers that on the whole, Christians do not seem to have gotten the point of it. Probably few of us have the faith or the nerve to tamper with hallowed Christmas traditions on a large scale or with other holiday celebrations, but a small experiment might prove interesting. What if instead of doing something, we were to be something special? Be a womb, be a dwelling for God, be surprised. So that seems pretty challenging. In our yoga practice today, we're going to challenge ourselves by maybe moving in different ways in the poses that we brought to the mat in the last video. I'll give you some options. So again, we're going to get down on all fours. So I'm going to turn and take one leg back, right? Float the knee down. Coming to all fours. Again, inviting you to set an intention for this practice. Maybe today you'd like to think of one person you can be a safe space for, fully present to them sometime this week. Set them as the focus for your practice. Sending positive energy that way. Committing to being different in some way this week. And then we'll do an easy cat-cow. So exhaling, drop your tailbone. Let the crown of the head drop. And then gently inhale, arch. And exhale, hollow out. Do that a couple more times. Inhaling, arch. You do this on your elbows if you need. Exhaling, hollow out. Inhaling, gently arch. And we'll finish on that hollow out again. And come on back to neutral for our core warming today. Let's take that left leg out behind us. Lift the right thumb. Pushing those left finger pads into the mat. Exhaling, bring the elbow and the knee together. And then inhale, reach out. Maybe today you want to see if you can reach for the foot. And lift your chest. No pain anywhere, right? If that doesn't work for you, just keep your arm and your leg extended. And then come back to all fours, take your hips from side to side. And we'll go right to the other side. So take that heel out, thumb to the ceiling. You could stay right here. You want to throw a little different activity into your practice. Maybe gently you find the other foot and lift. Extend, gently release. Go ahead and rock those hips from side to side. So today we're going to keep our hips over our knees. Then you're going to walk your hands over to one side. Just get a nice little side stretch. All right. Hold that opposite hip back. Feel a little stretch in the shoulders. And walk your hands through center. You can still do this on your elbows if it bothers your wrists. Pull back on the other side. And inhaling, come on back to center. So I'm going to be your mirror again. You're going to bring your left knee forward. Right, find that low lunge. Right away, we're going to go into warrior 2. All right, so heel to arch alignment. Just building some strength. Nice. And then you're going to walk that front foot closer to the edge of your mat so that when you lift your back heel and come to a high runner's lunge, you're nice and stable. Take a breath. And then exhaling, hands to the mat. You're going to find your top of a push-up, plank, maybe on the knees or the toes. Exhaling, chaturanga, try and get your hips down last. And inhale, cobra. Raise your shoulders. And exhale, forehead to the mat. Curl your toes under. Lift your hips. Find your downward facing dog and take a breath. So we're going to do that same thing on the other side. I'm just going to turn around so I don't have my back to you. Stay in your downward facing dog. And you're going to bring your right leg forward. So maybe you want to float your knees down first. Find your low lunge. And then right away, lift that back heel. Turn it down and inward for warrior two on the other side. And then walk that front foot to the side of the mat a little bit so that when you lift the back heel and find your high runner's lunge, you're nice and stable. Use a chair or hold on to the wall if it's helpful. Practice safely. And exhale, hands to the mat. We're going to come right to a forward fold. So let your head hang. Inhale, fingertips under the knees. Exhale, let your head hang. And reverse your tide. Arms up in the air. And exhale your hands to your heart center. So eagle pose, I'm going to stay facing sideways. So it'll give you an option. Right, so wiggle your toes, sit down on your heels. Lift your left knee high over the right. Again, you could do this holding onto a chair. Just use the lower body. You need help balancing. So here's a chance to practice a little bit differently. Take your arms out to the side, left elbow under right. Maybe you want to fold forward. Stick with that intention that you set. If you wobble, just try again. You could keep your eagle arms, pull your low belly in, maybe find warrior three legs, unfolding, extending that top leg out behind you, and maybe straightening that standing leg. Or stay in your eagle pose. You pick. Come out of it safely by finding chair pose, sitting into the heels, unfurl your arms. And again, take that wide five-pointed star wherever you are. And just let the blood flow back into your joints. So we'll try that on the other side. Wiggle your toes. Sit down into your heels. Lift that right knee high over the left. Maybe wrap the shin. Take your arms out, right elbow under the left. And decide if you want to practice a little differently today. Pull that low belly in. Maybe you fold forward. It's harder. It's hard to be a disruptor. Maybe you want to extend out. Warrior three. Maybe extending that front leg. Safely come out of it. Through a chair pose, unfurl, and find your five-pointed star. Feel all that good energy building. Nice. So come back to the top of your mat. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhaling, gently forward fold. Let your head hang. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, soften your knees. You're going to find the top of your push-up. So maybe you hop, maybe you step. Right? And exhaling, chaturanga. Chest and chin down. And bend the hips. Let's make a little more space today in our cobra by taking the fingertips forward and out. Push your feet into the mat and inhaling, gently arch. Let's stay here for a breath. Drop those shoulder blades. And gently release, forehead to the mat. Bring your elbows underneath you and lift your hips up and back. So right away we're going to come to dolphin pose. Right, so you're going to curl your toes under, lift your hips. So the alternative option I'm going to offer you today is child's pose. Maybe you've had enough of dolphin and you just want to find some rest. Rest is important. Just as important as all the other doing. Recall your intention. One more deep inhale and exhale. And pull your low belly in. And we're going to come back onto our elbows. Walk your knees out behind you and drop your hips. So posing and counter posing, just a gentle back bend sphinx pose here. Lift your chest. Keeping that space between the shoulders and the ears nice and long. And then pull that low belly in. Lift your hips. Come back to all fours. So for a twist today, we're going to gently thread the needle. So take your left arm up in the air and exhale. Take it underneath the body. Dropping your left ear maybe onto a block or onto the mat. Walk your right arm either forward, or you could take it behind you, finding the hip crease on the other side. Few breaths. Then gently release. Use that top hand to push your body weight off your shoulder. And then before you put any weight on it, lift it up to the sky. Arm up. Open chest. And exhale, gently release. Take a moment to notice the difference. And then when you're ready, we'll go the other way. So take that right arm underneath your body. Letting the ear drop to the mat if you can. Maybe walking the left arm forward or taking it behind the body. Not too much pressure on your neck. A few deep breaths here. And you use that top arm to push weight off the shoulder. And before you put any weight on it, lift it up. And exhaling, gently release. Nice. And we'll come to seated. So find Dandasana, seated staff pose. It's a great way to cultivate stability and calm. My toes are pointing straight up, palms resting by your side. Find one place to set your gaze, your drishti. Nice. And then we're going to plant our feet and do reverse tabletop again. Right? So my fingertips are pointing toward my hips. You could have them pointing sideways. Now lift your chest, lift your hips. You could gaze forward or upward, or let your head drop back. Couple of breaths. And exhaling, gently release. Stretch your legs out again. Lift your arms, and then gently find a forward fold. Again, posing and counter posing. So you could try that again. upward reverse tabletop, right? Or you could roll onto your back for fish pose. So this we don't practice very often. You just remember you're your own best teacher. So do a reverse tabletop, or if you want to try fish pose, tuck your palms facing down under your hips. So your pelvis is like on your wrists. Then you're going to stretch your legs out. Squeeze your toes together like you have a mermaid tail. And on your inhale, again, remember, you're your own best teacher. You push into your elbows and lift your chest. You could gently rest on the crown of your head. Not a lot of weight on the head though, right? No pain anywhere. Open your heart. Push those elbows into the mat. If you're in reverse tabletop, go ahead and drop your hips. Gently coming out of fish pose, no weight on your head or your neck. And release. So perhaps already ready for Shavasana. If you're not, you could maybe try a bridge pose. But if you're ready, go ahead and stretch yourself out, or keep your knees bent if it's better for your low back. Perhaps today resting one hand on your belly and the other hand over your heart. A few more moments to be fully present. Recall your intention and let it go. We're going to take several deep breaths. You could move your hands if you prefer, or leave them where they are. Nothing to do until you hear my voice again. So if your hands were still over your belly and your heart, go ahead and release them, palms facing up for a breath. And then decide how you'd like to get moving, starting from the extremities, fingers and toes, ankles, then making the motions a little bit bigger, maybe knees, be gentle. Windshield wipering the knees from side to side, easy twist, getting ready to move again. So eventually you want to push yourself up to one side so that you can safely come to seated. Again, maybe resting your palms facing up on your knees. So we may not have the nerve to tamper with our big holiday traditions, but we could do a small experiment. So don't forget this week to be something special. Be a womb, be a dwelling for God, be surprised. On inhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Exhale, bow your head to your heart for showing up again. The Spirit in me honors the Spirit in you. Namaste.